At the beginning of the story, we see a huge building which is a hotel named W-Line Hotel. And inside the hotel, we see two people talking. One of them is Hyun Woo-young, the leader of the Woo-young gang, and he's 29 years old. The other person that Hyun Woo-young is talking to is 25-year-old Kang Suk-chai, also informally known as Dae-pa, the second in command of the Woo-young gang, and we see them drinking and talking with each other about something. Then suddenly we hear a knock on the door. The guy knocking on the door says he has something urgent to report to them, and we see that Hyun Woo-young and Kang Suk-chai tell him to come in. And afterward, we see that Hyun Woo-young asks that guy if there is something urgent to report, then it must be about Suk-chan, so he wants to know what happened. And that if they lose. The guy bowed down and said no and that they won. And he responded to that by saying, that's not just a simple win, but an overwhelming victory. Dae-pa's reaction in his words was that their brother Suk-chan claimed to the top alone and managed to defeat the boss too, which was very flabbergasting to Dae-pa. After saying that, we see Hyun Woo-young saying that it went down as he was expecting it. After all, he has a great eye for people. Then Hyun Woo-young said that even before he turned 20, he single-handedly took down a whole organization and that he was the only one who did that before Dae-pa could know. And then we know that even Dae-pa was playing around in school at that age. At that time, Dae-pa said that Suk-chan wasn't the only one to do that and that he just couldn't get that kind of opportunity as Suk-chan at that age. And Hyun Woo-young responded by saying that it sounded like jealousy to him. Then we see that Hyun Woo-young said that in any case, Suk-chan did something incredible this time. Because of this achievement, Hyun Woo-young wants to promote Suk-chan to 4th rank. Hyun said that in front of Dae-pa, Dae-pa was shocked to hear that he was getting promoted to the 4th rank. And Hyun Woo-young asked why Dae-pa was reacting this way, because after all, except Dae-pa and Hyun Woo-young who could beat Suk-chan in a one-on-one fight. We then see that Dae-pa says that dividing ranks based on fist-fighting ability alone would be problematic for the group. He adds that they also have to consider the position of the younger brothers who have been struggling together ever since they started from the bottom. Hyun Woo-young replies to this by saying that no one said that they are abandoning anyone, and of course they will take care of everyone till the end. But he says that Suk-chan is quite exceptional according to Hyun Woo-young, and further adds that if someone is exceptional, then they should be handsomely rewarded, and Suk-chan is extraordinarily skilled. We then see afterward that Dae-pa says that he agrees that Suk-chan has some unique skill, but if he becomes 4th ranked then he will be just below him and his brother Hyun Woo-young. Dae-pa thinks that the club is just a little bit too exclusive. We then see that Hyun Woo-young said that if Dae-pa is so opposed to it, then he'll think about it some more. And afterward, we see Hyun Woo-young talking about his drink and other things. After that, we see that the guy who delivered the urgent news is still standing. And then we see what Hyun Woo-young said to him. He realized that he was still standing there and said, "You're still here." He said, "Good job," and further added, "You can go now." But the guy then said, "That's not it. If I'm not bothering you too much, can I ask a question?" And Hyun Woo-young nodded at him and said, "What is it?" The guy then replied, "Hyun Woo-young's brother is 1st ranked. Is Hyun Woo-young AD boss? Dae-pa is 2nd ranked." Hyun Woo-young said, "That's right. We want to promote Suk-chan to the 4th rank. It's just below us. But where is the 3rd rank and who is it?" And then we see that after he asked the question, Hyun Woo-young said, "Oh, so that is your question." He said, "The 3rd rank is a permanent vacancy in the Woo-young gang." The guy then said, "Excuse me." And then Hyun Woo-young said to that guy, "To put it simply, it's a bit complicated." And then Hyun Woo-young said, "Don't boast about your looks in Suncheon. Don't boast about your money in Yosu. And don't boast about your fist in Bozong." We then see a flashback. 11 years ago, Bogyo Town, Bozong County, South Jeolla Province. And we see a bunch of people lying down, all beaten up. We get to see that the guy who beat all those people is an 18-year-old Hyun Woo-young. In that process, Hyun Woo-young also got pretty beaten up. We see a bloodied Hyun Woo-young saying after beating those thugs that the Bozong thugs seemed nothing special to him. And then we see Hyun Woo-young saying to those thugs who are still standing that now playtime is over, and he's going to gradually make them all suffer bit by bit. And as Hyun Woo-young is about to have a go at them, we see the police suddenly arrive at the scene. And then we see that Hyun Woo-young was saying that this feels annoying to him because even though he wants to torture them, he can't. We then see that the police are capturing all the thugs, putting handcuffs on them, and arresting them. We see Hyun Woo-young thinking that if only they had come a little earlier, He then said this because he almost lost his life. And suddenly Hyun Woo-young realizes that one of the police officers is putting handcuffs on him. Hyun Woo-young was stunned and said to the officer that he was not one of the gangsters and that he was just trying to help the people of this neighborhood. And the police officer says to Hyun Woo-young to shut his mouth, and that after causing this mess to dozens of people, he still has the guts to say that he's innocent. And then we see that the officer asks him to stop talking and go with the police. We see Hyun Woo-young screaming at the top of his lungs that he is not one of them. And fast forward 2 years later, we see a 20-year-old Hyun Woo-young come out of a correctional facility and meet up with his known ones. One of them gave Hyun Woo-young something to eat and said that he's been through a lot in those 2 years. And they went to a restaurant and he asked him what he's going to do now. And further adds that if he doesn't have a solid plan, then he should go back to his hometown and work with his father picking up clams or something. And Hyun Woo-young responded to that by saying he didn't want to go back to his hometown right away, and that he has his plans. We then see a year later a 21-year-old Hyun Woo-young at Hanyang High School, and in class, the teacher introduces him saying that this is Hyun Woo-young, a student who will be studying with the students from today. Then the teacher asks him to introduce himself. Hyun Woo-young then says to the class that after battling with a serious illness and receiving treatment for 3 years, he returned to school this semester. And although he is 21 years old, he still wants to get along with them all as peers, because he'll be in their care. We see some students saying that they want to get along as peers, so they should torment him just as much as everybody else instead of giving him any special treatment. And if so, then his wish is their command. And we then see afterward that the students of Hyun Woo-young's class are talking about him. They say that the way Hyun Woo-young is behaving might just be an act though, and be shocked once they get to know him. And they also add that after all, he is 3 years older than them. Then one of the students said that Hyun Woo-young said when he was introducing himself that he was held back because he was sick. And he further goes on to say how weak someone has to be held back for 3 years. And we then see that Hyun Woo-young is the topical wimpy kid, and asks the other students to look at Hyun Woo-young's glasses. Then the students decided that if that's the case, then they would observe Hyun Woo-young at lunchtime. And there the students will see how he reacts. And then at lunchtime, everyone is at the canteen. 2 of the guys in the food queue are talking, and one of them takes his phone out and starts to take some pictures of himself. And his friend asks him if the students can bring phones at the school. And the phone guy answered that as long as they don't get caught, it's fine to bring a phone. And afterward, we see Hyun Woo-young standing in the same food queue, listening to a song on his iPod. Suddenly, the bullies from Hyun Woo-young's class, who were also standing in the same queue, decided to go up to him. The bullies then pulled Hyun Woo-young's headphones off of him and said, "What the heck are those?" to Hyun Woo-young, and then further added that those seemed to be headphones and said that he had thought these were hearing aids. And he also said that if he is not hearing impaired, then why the heck can't he hear people talking? And we then see that Hyun Woo-young was very angry about these things, but he decided to keep his mouth shut. The bully then asks, "Why aren't you answering?" And he also said that if Hyun Woo-young is so angry about it, then he should do something about it to him. Afterward, we see Hyun Woo-young saying that he is saying that it's his bad and that it's his habit of cracking up the music and saying to the bully what he was saying. We then see the bully say to him that later they have a basketball game and it is for a bet of 30,000 bucks. And then he said that Hyun Woo-young should quickly eat and come to the game and give his support to that team so they can practice well. He then says that Hyun Woo-young is also in their class and then calls him uncle. Hyun Woo-young then said that he was fine and that he would go first. We then see the bully is calling everyone around. We then see all the students get together, and they ask what's wrong. And the bully then asks if they play basketball alone. And then Hyun Woo-young said that they should all eat together if they want to practice together. And the bully asks everyone that does have a problem with that. And everyone said that they don't. We then see the bully thinks that Hyun Woo-young is not tough at all. We then see the bully take Hyun Woo-young's iPod and say that it is the new one. And further adds that the sound quality is really good, and it has cool kick-ass features too. And how would he be able to know if it's good or trash if he doesn't use it himself? And afterward, he said that he's gonna do a little test on this. Then we see Hyun Woo-young give him an angry look, and he says, "What's with that look?" Someone might think that he's stealing Hyun Woo-young's stuff, and that he is just borrowing it. And Hyun Woo-young then said that that's fine and that he can borrow it. And then we see that the bully said that, Can Hyun Woo-young read the atmosphere and called him a clueless old geezer. We then see Hyun Woo-young thanking that somebody just stole from him, and he is flabbergasted by that. We then see the scene change, and Hyun Woo-young is at the teacher's office. And that teacher says that he has read all the records about Hyun Woo-young, and that he has quite a colorful past, both outside and inside the correctional facility. And that the teacher thought that he was reading a martial arts novel. And then he said that it was all in the past. And the teacher said that, in the past, huh? Then the teachers ask Hyun Woo-young if he regrets any of the things that he has done. And Hyun Woo-young said that there were reasons for his actions, so he honestly didn't regret any of those things. But he also added that he won't act that way after a little pause. The teacher said that he'd take his word for it, and then asks Hyun Woo-young why he is so eager to come back to school. And if he needs a high school diploma, then there are plenty of other ways to do that. And Hyun Woo-young said he wants to go back to the point in his life where everything went wrong and he slowly wants to fix it, and that there is no other motive. And the teacher said, that's his journey. And further goes on to add that what's the harm in letting a prodigal son come back to school and cross one item off his bucket list, and that it's not like such a place exists. And then the teacher said that frankly, he doesn't trust Hyun Woo-young's words. And Hyun Woo-young said to the teacher that he was thankful to the teacher for being honest with him. And then the teacher said that if it was up to him, then he would have denied Hyun Woo-young's readmission to their school. However, since his opinion is irrelevant, and that's why he's not going to say anything more about that, instead of Hyun Woo-young causing the slightest problem, the teacher will do everything in his power to get him expelled from their school. And does he have any objections? Hyun Woo-young replied none and further said that'll do. Afterward, we see the scene change, and we see Hyun Woo-young eating at the canteen quietly. And thinking of something, suddenly the bully came up to him and wanted him to clean their plate in which they had eaten food. Everyone looks at him and Hyun Woo-young shockingly, and we then see Hyun Woo-young saying that he has heard that whoever eats is responsible for cleaning up their plates. They then cursed at Hyun Woo-young and said that if Hyun Woo-young was saying that he should clean up too, and further said that Hyun Woo-young can't do this little favor for those people who he calls friends and who represent the class in competition. And then the bully said Hyun Woo-young to just look at national team representatives going to the Olympics or other events, living off taxpayer money for their food, lodging, and training. Doesn't it make Hyun Woo-young feel like damn? Then the other bully said that Hyun Woo-young's behavior was extremely selfish. We then see Cha Ho-seok's second year at Hanyang High, and the first ranked in Seoul, is thinking that isn't Hyun Woo-young three-year-old resigned student who got in with 10,000 points this time, and that he should check if he has any worth. We then see on the other hand that after hearing so much from the bullies, Hyun Woo-young said that he gets it and that he'll clean up their plates. The bullies then respond to that by saying that Hyun Woo-young should have done that earlier, and now that he's going to do it, he doesn't need to make any big fuss about that. And see that the other bully gave him a little smack on his head and said what was wrong with him, and called Hyun Woo-young a moron. And after that, they left. We then see Cha Ho-seok, who was sitting behind Hyun Woo-young, thinking that what's the big deal, and that there is no need to report such a thing to the third-year seniors. We then see that Hyun Woo-young is cleaning the bullies' plates, and thinking that he's sure that the bullies must be in a bad mood today because they're going to meet those dudes from Jangin High. And after the cleaning is over, we see Hyun Woo-young saying that this should be enough and that it was cute. And after that, the scene changes, and we see the school's basketball ground. And people are there at the basketball ground. And they're also, one of the bullies is bullying a guy who then bullies calls Doggy. And they make him pretend to be a dog. And then we get to know the name of the guy, and his name is Kim Sung-woo, and he's from 2nd grade, class 1. And we then see the bully is saying to Kim Sung-woo, who they call Doggy, to hurry up and do something special. And if there is anything that he is good at, even just one thing, we then see Kim Sung-woo say sorry to the bully. We afterwards see that Young Hoon, the other bully, also arrived at the basketball ground. Then we see that he is asking Young Hoon, how is the new student, and whether he has any special or unique traits. And Young Hoon replies by saying that Hyun Woo-young is worth noting, and that he only has the age going for himself. Then the bully says that he guesses he can treat Hyun Woo-young like this worthless piece of crap Kim Sung-woo. And we then see after that, Kim Sung-woo is standing heartbroken and listening to the bullies talking. And Kim Sung-woo was crying at the school basketball ground in front of the bullies. And afterward, we see that the bully asks Young Hoon if he is sure about Hyun Woo-young. And he replied that yes, he of course is sure about Hyun Woo-young. He further adds that he already stripped Hyun Woo-young of his cash, and what else would they want to see, and they said yes. He then showed them the iPod that he had taken from Hyun Woo-young, and the other bullies said that it's new. And Young Hoon then explained how he took it from Hyun Woo-young. And then we see the other bully, to whom Young Hoon was talking to, just got super angry at him. He was furious that Young Hoon hadn't still given him the iPod after that. We see Young Hoon got scared and said that he could have the iPod if he wanted, and then give the iPod to him. And then we see that the other bully, who calls himself King Kong, is calming down, and then he smiles at Young Hoon and says, "Why do they ruin the mood with such a pretty thing?" And then he said that they're all friends after all. And we see him leave the place. And afterward, we see Young Hoon calling Kim Sung-woo and saying that he is a crackhead, and what is he doing there? And didn't he see that the ball was rolling? And kicked Kim Sung-woo in his groin. And we then see a hurt Kim Sung-woo saying sorry to Young Hoon, and then he runs away. We then see the scene change, and Hyun Woo-young is standing on the balcony, looking at the basketball ground, and thinks that it was new too, and asking to have it back would be useless, and that everything is the same old to him. And then he thinks about what could be different there at the school. And afterward, we see that an announcement is going on. The announcement says that they have worked hard attending classes all day, and that now the school hours are over. We then see the bully who calls himself King Kong go to Hyun Woo-young and put his iPod on his table. And Hyun Woo-young thinks that he's giving it back. That's unexpected. We then see the bully then said, "What if someone who's not old like you listens to this crap?" and wants him to bring some new songs like Dong Bang XX or XX 501 type of songs. Hyun Woo-young then thinks that was the problem. Then the bully says why isn't Hyun Woo-young answering, and if he's deaf or what, and then curses him. And then said that he's not that old, since he's only 21 years old, and smacks Hyun Woo-young on the head. And then said that when people talk to him, he should respond and again smack him. And Hyun Woo-young then smiles at him, gives him a thumbs up as a gesture of yes, and says got it. And we then see him again smack him on the head and say that he thinks that he's higher than them, just because he is older. We see that Hyun Woo-young's glasses fall off his eyes. Then the bully says that Hyun Woo-young has time until tomorrow. We then see Hyun Woo-young thinking that, if those kids from True Light saw this, they'd be stunned. We then see the scene change, and Hyun Woo-young is heading towards home, and he's thinking that he guesses that after school it doesn't matter. We then see Hyun Woo-young walk by a convenience store. And we then see inside the convenience store that the girl is starting her first part-time job. Her name is Na Yuna. The manager of the store is explaining her job duties. And we then see that she says that this is her first part-time job since she entered college. And she also adds that she'll work hard. And the manager said that that's the right spirit. And then we see that the manager says that working at a convenience store is nothing special. And she'll just have to make sure that she doesn't make any mistakes doing the inventory. And all she has to do is watch out for the middle schoolers that try to buy alcohol or cigarettes. And if she's unsure, always ask for an ID. After that, the manager said that nowadays, there are kids who sneakily attach photos to their older brother's or sister's ID. Then he said that even if they show her their ID, and if she feels that something is off, simply refuses to sell anything to them and that she should send those customers off. And then the manager further adds that there might be kids who'll cuss and make a scene. And he said that she shouldn't be scared in such a situation, and that she has to be strong. And then the manager said that if these people think that Na Yuna is a pushover, then they'll make this place their hangout. And according to the manager, then they'll bother her every day, asking for alcohol and cigarettes. And Na Yuna then said that she'll be strong. And if there's nothing else she is curious about, then she is gonna go and she should try working alone. After that, the manager said she could text him if anything happened. We then see Na Yuna say to leave it to her now. And the manager says take care of her and then leave. We then get to know that Na Yuna is a 21-year-old nursing student from a nearby college. We then see that Hyun Woo-young entered the convenience store, and Na Yuna said welcome to him as he entered the convenience store. And we then see that Hyun Woo-young looks at her and thinks that she must be the recruit for a part-time job here. Then we see that Hyun Woo-young gives her money and says that 1 pack of dicks. And Na Yuna looked at him and she seemed shocked. Hyun Woo-young then thought that she might not be familiar with this. So he started to show her where it was located at. She then remembers that she was told to check if she was sure. And this sure looks like a school uniform to her, so she said that she can't sell it to him. And Hyun Woo-young said that if there is any problem. She then again said that she couldn't sell these things to him. Hyun Woo-young said that she would like to see his ID, and that he's an adult. And then Hyun Woo-young further goes on to say that he is a regular customer here. And the manager also knows him very well and he lives nearby. It seemed to him that she was new here, and Hyun Woo-young showed her his ID. Na Yuna then remembers that the manager said that she looked like a pushover. And we then see that Na Yuna said to Hyun Woo-young that he is trying to deceive her, without even the slightest courtesy. And how dare he wear a school uniform? She thinks that she needs to be more strict in this type of situation. And then Na Yuna said, "Excuse me, you non-adult sir," and Hyun Woo-young asked why is she talking casually, all of a sudden. And she replied, "What's wrong with being casual?" and that she is 21 years old. And Hyun Woo-young says that he is also 21, and that he even showed his ID. She then said that Hyun Woo-young forged it, and also added that Hyun Woo-young should be studying hard if he's a high school student, and also said that if I can't get his act together, then he'll also end up retaking a year like her. Hyun Woo-young responded to that by saying that Na Yuna said he took a year drop and took 3 by the way. She then thinks that maybe Hyun Woo-young is making fun of her, and that she needs to be stronger, and that she must be very stern to make sure that he won't do that again. And then we see that Na Yuna took a floor mop to teach a lesson to him, and said that when she gets angry, she can be a scary person. Then she tries to hit Hyun Woo-young, and we see that Hyun Woo-young thinks that he can't use his strength against a girl. So he started to run away. And while running, Hyun Woo-young said to her that she should calm down, and that the manager of the store knows him very well. And then we see that Na Yuna said that he still didn't figure it out and that he did want to get scored by her, and started swinging at him. We then see Hyun Woo-young run away, and Na Yuna says well done to herself. And she thinks that she did an awesome job. And she thinks that now the high school kid will never come back again. And afterwards, we see that Hyun Woo-young is tired of running. And he stands in a corner, and then Hyun Woo-young thinks about what has happened to him today. And how many times has his head shaved, just in a day. And further thinks that, at the time, no one could lay a finger on him. It was not far behind just a year ago, and he was thinking about his years in the correction facility days. We then see afterward that Hyun Woo-young is heading toward his home. And on the other hand, we see Na Yuna has also finished her duty. And the manager says to her that good work was done today by Na Yuna and says to take care of her. We then see that after attending classes and working part-time jobs, the day passes by in the blink of an eye. And we see Na Yuna heading home, thinking that she needed to take some rest. Suddenly she realized that she had to do laundry. And then we see that she also reaches home and started doing her laundry. And after she finishes laundry, she then thinks about where she should hang the laundry, and thinks if she should buy a laundry rack. And then we see the house owner say that she can just hang it on the roof, and that there is plenty of room there. The house owner then says that there is a bachelor living in the attic, but she says Na Yuna shouldn't worry about that. Then we see that Na Yuna thinks that hanging her underwear on the roof is a bit awkward to her. But what can she do? She feels grateful to find an apartment at this cheap price. And then we see the roof and the moon is shining. Meanwhile, we see that Hyun Woo-young is downloading some songs from the bully King Kong. And we then see that just thinking about it makes him mad. But anyhow, he thinks that he needs a break. And then we see that Hyun Woo-young is going to the roof for a smoke break. And then we see the scene changes and Hyun Woo-young is smoking and thinking that, does it have to be like this? And that if he turned a blind eye and helped them out a couple of times. And suddenly it struck his mind that what is he thinking right now? And that once or twice won't be enough, because this is a punishment for the past deeds, and that she should just accept it graciously. And he thinks that it should be done. And we see that Na Yuna arrives at the roof. We then see that Na Yuna approaches Hyun Woo-young from behind, says hello, and says that she is new here, and lives on the 3rd floor below. And that the landlady said that she can hang her laundry on the roof. And after that, we see Hyun Woo-young and Na Yuna both stunned to see each other. And Na Yuna said, "Why is he here?" And Hyun Woo-young replied that he should be the one asking here. That is why she is here at his place, a convenience store delinquent. Na Yuna responded by saying that she just moved in on the 3rd floor, and asked if he was the attic bachelor. And we then see that Hyun Woo-young replied that yes, he is the attic bachelor, and also added that he's 21 years old, and an adult. And Na Yuna said that was true and then laughed. And then saying that have a good time and asking him to take care. And then we see that Hyun Woo Young said that is gonna leave just like that. And she replied that maybe she. And Hyun Woo Young said that ain't she gonna hang those. And that it'll smell. And then we see that she was a little flabbergasted by hearing that. And afterward, we see that she has hanged all her laundry. And after that we see Na Yuna and Hyun Woo Young sitting on the roof and talking to each other. And we then see she said sorry and also added that seriously, he shouldn't be underestimating that store manager. She means that she has been tough. And Hyun Woo Young said that's enough. And asks her to bring out the goods properly from tomorrow. And then he said that he went all the way there today for nothing. And we then see that Na Yuna said that Hyun Woo Young still can't wear a uniform. And then he said that she just had to let that slide. We then see Na Yuna ask Hyun Woo Young why he is still in high school. Anyway. And we see after a little pause Hyun Woo Young responds by saying that it's because of an accident. And Na Yuna said that must have been a serious accident. And asks him if he is better now. And Hyun Woo Young responds by saying that he's not sure. It feels both real and unreal at the same time to him. And said when he and Na Yuna stopped talking like this. And we see that Na Yuna was a little shocked by that. And we then see that Hyun Woo Young asks if Na Yuna is also 21 years old. And then Hyun Woo Young said since they both are 21 years old, they're living in the same building. So they should speak more casually according to Hyun Woo Young. And Na Yuna said that shall they. Then we see that Hyun Woo Young then introduces himself and he says that he's Hyun Woo Young. And Na Yuna said huh. And Hyun Woo Young said that's his name. And then she said that she was Na Yuna, and further added that she was a freshman at the university, nursing department. And then we see that Hyun Woo Young said that why is she telling him about her department, and further said that is embarrassing, and said that as for himself, Hanyang High School 2nd grade. And we then see the scene changes and the next day at school. And the bully said, hey old man to Hyun Woo Young, and then asks him if Hyun Woo Young changed the songs. And Hyun Woo Young replied that he did. And then he said that Hyun Woo Young only put the boy group songs on. And then we see that the bully started smacking Hyun Woo Young again and said that he should have some taste. And that is that a male spa or a fish soup and snacks Hyun Woo Young again. And we then see that Hyun Woo Young said sorry to the bullies. And then we see that bullies punish him. They said that his punishment would be that Hyun Woo Young would bring 3 packs of cigarettes every day when he came to school. We then see that Hyun Woo Young is quite shocked by hearing that. And then we see that they said that Hyun Woo Young is old, so he should have a free pass to cigarettes. So they ask to bring enough then so they can smoke a pack per day. And on weekends, he should bring 2 tasty packs. We then see Hyun Woo Young say got that, and says that's not enough. And he then asks what about the money? And they replied what money 3 packs is, at least 6,001 per day. And Hyun Woo Young says that that's fine for 1 or 2 days, but for every single day is quite impossible. And suddenly we see Young Hoon is getting angry. And he said Tae Young Ki-hyuk, Park Young Ho, and as he called their names they got scared. And then we see Young Hoon say that the hack is that, and further said that he thought that Hyun Woo Yang's was over. And they quickly apologized. And then he said that this stupid guy is asking for money. And that he's ripping them off. Screamed why would he put up with this? And Park Young Ho and Young Ki-hyuk said that he should be so angry. And that they'll educate him quickly. Young Hoon said how quickly, got up to them, and viciously struck one of them with a knee strike followed by a kick to the gut. And after that, we saw that he fell on the floor and said that he was having difficulty breathing. And then he said that he should have expected this from an idiot like him. And then we see that Young Hoon left the place. And we then see that Hyun Woo Young thinks I'm his mind, that looks at the brat, and that he is acting just like he used to in the juvenile detention center. And suddenly we saw a thunderous hit. And Hyun Woo Young fell on the floor, and they started to hit him with kicks and punches nonstop, and started abusing also, and says that how is he asking for money from them, and also said that he was the cause of all this. And Hyun Woo Young said that he's very sorry for that, and thinks that they are being very rough with him, and that is how it should be done. And then they said that they were going to let Hyun Woo Young off because of his age, and just use him to supply them with cigarettes. But they said they're done with that thought now. Then we see Park Young Ho call Kim Sung Woo and say congratulations and that he has a new buddy. And then he says to a bruised up Hyun Woo Young that he'll make every single day of Hyun Woo Yang's life a living hell. and ask Hyun Woo-young to look forward to that. And then we see after the beatdown on Hyun Woo-young, Park Young-ho said, "Hey you old geezer," to Hyun Woo-young, that he should make sure to follow Kim Sung-woo today and learn everything from him. And further adds that if he messed up, then he'd take both of their lives. And Hyun Woo-young replied that he understood. And then we see that Kim Sung-woo then refers to Hyun Woo-young and asks him to please follow him. And suddenly Park Young-ho kicked Kim Sung-woo's gut and said why is he being so formal with Hyun Woo-young, and then said that he should just do as he was told. And Kim Sung-woo said that he understood and requested them to not hit him anymore. And we see Hyun Woo-young getting a bit angry, but he keeps quiet. And afterward, we see the scene change, and Kim Sung-woo and Hyun Woo-young go down the stairs. Hyun Woo-young asks Kim Sung-woo where are they going, and he replied that they were going to the convenience store. And we then see that Kim Sung-woo is saying sorry to Hyun Woo-young because he said that he can't help it when others are watching. He was casually talking with Hyun Woo-young, and he's sorry because Hyun Woo-young is older than him. But Hyun Woo-young said to him that he could just speak casually with him. And Kim Sung-woo replied that he's older than him. And Hyun Woo-young then said that I'm still in the same class, and said that it's not like he has never been friends with an older guy before. We then see that Hyun Woo-young will ask Kim Sung-woo again to talk casually with him. He then says okay, and started calling Hyun Woo-young Woo-young. Then Hyun Woo-young asked what he should do now. Kim Sung-woo then replied that first, he had to prepare snacks for those three so that Hyun Woo-young could give them to them whenever they asked for them. And to be particular, Young-hoon only eats hamburgers, not bread. And he says that since hamburgers are the most popular snacks at the store, they might be sold out by afternoon, Kim Sung-woo says. And according to him, that's why he should buy 3 in advance to stock up. Then he says that after that class, Hyun Woo-young can start his assessment while paying attention to the teacher. And Hyun Woo-young asks if he can just do that at home. Kim Sung-woo then said that he had a lot to do after school, so Kim Sung-woo doesn't have time to do it later. Kim Sung-woo then said that he only does homework so that he doesn't get scolded by the teacher, and also said that he has to pay special attention to performance evaluations which could affect his grades. And when he says that starting today, he'll be with Hyun Woo-young. So if he does well, then he'll get enough time to complete his assessment. We then see that Hyun Woo-young thinks that Kim Sung-woo hasn't been able to have time to do homework. And we then see after that they bring those snacks to the classroom for the bullies. The bullies then tell them how long it takes to buy snacks, and further says that they are trying to slack off. And then we see that Kim Sung-woo said that he was sorry, and that the line was long. And then we see that Park Young-ho smacks Kim Sung-woo and says that he told Kim Sung-woo not to make any excuses, and further adds that they will have to work like a hawk. And we see that Hyun Woo-young is watching all of these things and getting angry. We then see that the school is over and everyone is heading toward their home. And we see that Hyun Woo-young thinks that it sure isn't easy taking care of these kids. And he said that he just wanted to go home and take a rest. And suddenly someone called him, and it's Kim Sung-woo. Kim Sung-woo asks Hyun Woo-young why he is leaving so early, and that there is still a lot to do. And Hyun Woo-young replied that what else needed to be done, and said the school is over. And Kim Sung-woo said that the school might be over, but they're just getting started. We then see that Kim Sung-woo started to explain everything to Hyun Woo-young. And we see Hyun Woo-young taking orders at a restaurant, and the customers over there are treating him with disrespect and aggression. And then again Kim Sung-woo said that they have to work part-time jobs at the meat restaurant, and Hyun Woo-young asked why. Then Kim Sung-woo said that he had to give Young-hoon a stipend monthly, and he said that but Kim Sung-woo said that his family is poor, and that he can't afford to pay even if Kim Sung-woo lost his life or not. So Young-hoon and Ki-hyuk introduce him to this place. And then afterward the work times are 6 to 10 p.m. on weekdays and 2 till 10 on weekends. We then see Hyun Woo-young then, what about the payment that he was supposed to take? And then we see Hyun Woo-young thinks that he's working alone and sharing money. And Kim Sung-woo says that they share no way. Everything he eats goes to Young-hoon. And the restaurant owner doesn't know about this. And how can he not know with one person doing all the work and the other taking all the money? Kim Sung-woo then says that the owner is also on his side. Unfortunately, we then see that from the restaurant owner's perspective, he has a long-term and cheap hourly worker who won't quit and will commit himself to the work. so that's great for the owner. And then he says that as for Young-ho and Ki-hyuk, they will also get a generous cut from them. We then see Hyun Woo-young and Kim Sung-woo, after a long day of work, feeling very exhausted, and they feel that the work is finally over now. And Kim Sung-woo then said that it's still not over for him, because he'll still have to play a game at home. And then Hyun Woo-young asks him about the game, and isn't he tired yet? Kim Sung-woo then replied that he was tired, but it would be even harder tomorrow if he dropped down the ranks of Young-hoon's group. And then we see that Kim Sung-woo said that he knows how to play sudden force. And Hyun Woo-young says that it's not his first time hearing of this. Kim Sung-woo then says that it can't be helped, so he says that he'll play the game on his own. And Hyun Woo-young says that no, he'll help because they decided to do everything together. And then Kim Sung-woo reveals that the players have to play well to increase their score, and that if a beginner helps blindly, then the score will drop. So we see that Kim Sung-woo requests Hyun Woo-young that he should play on his own and that he can go and take a rest at home. We then see afterward that Hyun Woo-young asks if it is only them who have to work part-time and play games. And Kim Sung-woo replies that they have everyone, from every grade and every class, and that it's roughly about 30 students in the school he guessed, and that still no one reports them, and that even if the police catch a few of them and send them to juvenile detention centers, it doesn't mean that they will be locked up forever, and that they'll come back in a year and take revenge on whoever complained about them. And even if the students drop out or transfer, reporting them still won't help when you can't even leave because they'll come after you. We then see that Hyun Woo-young asks Kim Sung-woo how he got targeted by them. He then said that he always dreamt of being a cartoonist, so he would practice drowning during breaks. And one day he was practicing drowning at the class break time, and Young-hoon noticed that. And then we see that Young-hoon said that this idiot is a total otaku after watching Kim Sung-woo draw. And afterward Young-hoon then asks him to open his bag. And then he said that Kim Sung-woo is an otaku in a beggar's shoe. So Kim Sung-woo passed, and their class is counting on Kim Sung-woo from now on. And then we see in the present time, Hyun Woo-young asks Kim Sung-woo that he didn't even argue or try to fight back. And Kim Sung-woo replied that how could he argue with such a scary person? And then Hyun Woo-young asks if he still dreams of being a cartoonist. And Kim Sung-woo replies that no, and his dream is now to graduate, and that he just wants all this to end quickly, and that it's okay for him if he doesn't get to make any good memories of his school, and that he just wishes that everything would magically disappear before tomorrow comes, and it would be better for everyone. And we see Hyun Woo-young just keep staring at him then. Afterward, we see Hyun Woo-young on the roof of his house thinking that he's a tough guy and doesn't care even if he's hurt, but other kids aren't. Afterwards, we see that the scene changes and Kim Sung-woo is heading towards his home from school. And then he entered his house and went to his room and started playing the game to get good scores. And he didn't even change his clothes. And we see that after watching Kim Sung-woo like this, his mother was worried about him. We then see that Kim Sung-woo is playing non-stop even though he's tired. And then we see that his mother enters the room. Kim Sung-woo then says to his mother, "Why did come cameo his room?" His mother then says there's anything wrong, and if so Kim Sung-woo can talk to her. And then we see that his mother further goes on to ask what he is doing these days because he comes home very late. And he then replied that these days he's been going to the library. And Kim Sung-woo's mother asks if he's going to the library or what. And then he replies in a very aggressive manner, why is she so interested in what her son is doing these days? Then Kim Sung-woo's mother says that she spoke to his teacher. The teacher said that he hasn't submitted any of his assessments, and his performance has eventually dropped since he became a sophomore. So she wants to know what happened. And then Kim Sung-woo replies that nothing, and asks her not to worry about that anymore. And she then says how she is not supposed to worry when her son is coming home late every day, and also doesn't change his uniform, and that he just plays games until dawn. We then see that Kim Sung-woo shouts and says that she wants to know, then she should leave him alone. And then we see his mother says that if he hangs out with troublemakers. And then Kim Sung-woo says that if she thinks that, and if so she doesn't know anything. And his mother then says that she's sorry that she doesn't know anything, but can he tell her what happened to him? And where he has been these days? We then see that Kim Sung-woo furiously shouts and says that that's nothing, and that he can take care of himself. And then his mother asks if he's getting bullied or something like that. And then we see Kim Sung-woo stand up and say that seriously his mother is so annoying. and then he pushes his mother out of the room and said that get out quickly to her and close the door. And his mother then knocks at the door and says that he should talk to her. And Kim Sung-woo says that he has nothing to say. And she then says that if he doesn't tell her, then how will she know? And Kim Sung-woo asks what she will do if she knows, and then said leave him alone. We then see that Kim Sung-woo is feeling very sorry about what he did with his mother. And then we see that Kim Sung-woo gets back to the game and sees that he's losing. And then he thinks that it would be great if the universe gets destroyed and everyone loses their life. And after that, we see it's morning and Kim Sung-woo is still playing games. And unfortunately, and of course the universe is fine, and that he still has to go to school today. And after that, we see Kim Sung-woo heading for school and is very sad and almost cried in the way of his school as he was walking. And the bullies are sitting in the classroom. And then Kim Sung-woo entered the classroom. And Young-hoon said, "What is the time?" And when he was so late and called him doggy. We then see that Kim Sung-woo says sorry to the bullies, and the bullies say that was supposed to be their dog. So they ask why he arrived this late. And they further go on to say that he should come early and wait for them. And we then see that Kim Sung-woo responded by saying sorry to the bullies. We then see that Young-hoon said that Kim Sung-woo thinks that it'll all be over if he just says sorry, and said that words alone won't cut it. And after that, we see that Young-hoon then said to the bully why is he making such a fuss early in the morning, and said that their doggy has finally arrived. And also added that Kim Sung-woo is feeling sorry about being late and asked him by saying the right doggy. And we then see that Kim Sung-woo said thanks to Young-hoon. And after that, we see that Young-hoon walks across the room, sits on a chair, spits on the floor, and says to Kim Sung-woo, "Come and clean that with your mouth, doggy," and then he'll accept Kim Sung-woo's apology. And we then can see that Kim Sung-woo was stunned. And Park Young-ho and Yoon Ki-hyuk say that's a great idea for Young-hoon, and further adds that it'll prove that Kim Sung-woo meant his sorry. And then we see that Kim Sung-woo was hesitant at first. And then Young-hoon said that isn't sorry. Or does he just not want to leave? And then Kim Sung-woo got scared and agreed to do so. Then we see that Young-hoon told Kim Sung-woo to kneel and lick his spit. We then see that Kim Sung-woo says that he'll come earlier tomorrow, and that can Young-hoon please let it slide this time. And Young-hoon replied that Kim Sung-woo should do as he told him to do, and then said that Kim Sung-woo should know that he is going easy on him. And if Kim Sung-woo doesn't like it, then he'll just take his life. And then Young-hoon said that Kim Sung-woo wants his mother to lose both her husband and son. And we see that Kim Sung-woo is still saying to let it slide this time and that he really can't do this, and starts crying and says just this once. Young-hoon then said that it looked like their dog wasn't fully trained. Park Young-ho said to Young-hoon that he should leave Kim Sung-woo to him and that from now on he'll train him and just wants some time, and he'll see the results. And then we see that Hyun Woo-young just entered the classroom. And the bullies who were there said to him that there came their second dog, the one they were all waiting for. They also added to that by saying that Kim Sung-woo and Hyun Woo-young should both start training together. Then they also want Hyun Woo-young to kneel to them. And afterward, that Hyun Woo-young says to Kim Sung-woo that he hopes that Kim Sung-woo will become a great cartoonist one day in the future. And we then see that Kim Sung-woo, who was looking at Hyun Woo-young, is left shocked by what was being said. And then Hyun Woo-young said that Kim Sung-woo said to him yesterday that he wants to become a cartoonist going forward. And then Hyun Woo-young also added that how Kim Sung-woo also said to him that he wishes that everything would just disappear like magic before the next day comes, and that it'd be better for everyone. Then Hyun Woo-young also said that believe it or not, he is a pretty good magician in his own right. And then Hyun Woo-young also said that from now on, Hyun Woo-young said that he'll do magic and make all trash from the school disappear, and told Kim Sung-woo to take a very good look at that, as he might miss it if he doesn't pay attention. Because after all, he'll make every single trash person in the entire school disappear in a blink of an eye. We then see that Kim Sung-woo is asking Hyun Woo-young just what he was even saying at that point. To which Hyun Woo-young replied by saying that Kim Sung-woo should just start to believe him. And that right there, he will show a demonstration to Kim Sung-woo, a sneaky peek of what's to come. We then see that Yoon Ki-hyuk was furious from hearing all this yapping from Hyun Woo-young. It was the trigger point for him, which made him hit Hyun Woo-young with a strong punch. However, what transpired left Yoon Ki-hyuk in utter disbelief, as he then wondered just what the heck happened, because he went ahead and hit Hyun Woo-young with a proper hard punch. But what was shocking to him was that Hyun Woo-young hardly even moved from that wicked punch of his. Then we see that Hyun Woo-young tells Kim Sung-woo to watch attentively, as we then see that he says abraka, before raising his fist in the air and saying daba before throwing a wild punch to the bully. And we then see that the bully was knocked up unconscious thanks to that blow from Hyun Woo-young. This leaves everyone from the class in an utter state of shock, specifically Kim Sung-woo, who couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. Then after that, we see that Hyun Woo-young says that to Kim Sung-woo that he even saw what he did to the bully. Hyun Woo-young then proclaimed that he had officially made the first one vanish out of thin air. And Kim Sung-woo was just left flabbergasted by all of this happening around him. As the story continues, we get to see that Hyun Woo-young vanished Young-ho in just a single blow, and Kim Sung-woo was absolutely flabbergasted by seeing that. After that, one of the bullies looked at their unconscious mate Young-ho, and he said in a joking way that Young-ho always thought that he was a great fighter, and now look at this worthless joke lying unconscious. Afterward, one of the bullies wants to fight Hyun Woo-young, so as was about to get into the face of Hyun Woo-young, we find out that he was stopped by Young-hoon. Their Young-hoon told the other bully, he and Young-ho are at the same level. So that's why Young-hoon decided to take things in his own hands. Young-hoon then tells everyone there that it's his time to shine. He further goes on to say that he has heard there are some people who regret their past, so they stay quiet and become looser at their new school. But according to Young-hoon, he doesn't give a damn about that, and this was still his area of expertise. On the other hand, we can see that the other bully was thinking Young was different from them, therefore he goes on to say to Hyun Woo-young, this time he won't win so easily. After that, Young-hoon lets Woo-young know that he was trained in boxing for 3 years, and that he was going to finish Woo-young. This is where Hyun Woo-young is going to say goodbye to his life. After that, Young-hoon takes his boxing stance and steps across Hyun Woo-young. Seeing that, Hyun Woo-young puts his fist up in the air and starts to chant Hocus Pocus Abraka, seeing that Young-hoon asks him if he was a stupid, and thought who would get hit by that. As he was thinking that, Hyun Woo-young says Dubra and suddenly hammer fist Young-hoon on his head, and within a fraction of a second Young-hoon gets knocked down and we find out Young-hoon was knocked unconscious by just one blow. By seeing that, everyone was stunned, so they couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Following that, Hyun Woo-young macks Young-hoon by saying, 3 years of boxing, and he starts laughing. After that, the other bully was furious about that, and he started saying to Hyun Woo-young that he thinks that he is strong, but he shouldn't flatter himself just because he defeated them. In fact, Young-hoon was only number 5 in second year, there are 4 people above him, and the third-year students are on a different level. So that's why Hyun Woo-young shouldn't be so happy about this. In fact, now Hyun Woo-young should be sad, because he's going to be destroyed by all those guys who are above Young-hoon. To which Hyun Woo-young responded by saying he understood him, but now he should just go and do the errands. By hearing that, the bully asks what Hyun Woo-young after that told him Sung-woo, and he were now heading to the rooftop, so he should now just go and buy them some hamburgers and cola. The bully was confused hearing that. Hyun Woo-young then further goes on to say, if he wants to leave, then he should do as he asks him to do. After that, we can see that the bully is okay, and that he will now go and buy those things for Sung-woo and Hyun Woo-young and start to run. As he was running, he thought in his mind that this guy is strong, but he was also a stupid at the same time because now he will go and tell Hoseok about what Hyun Woo-young did. After that, Hyun Woo-young says to Sung-woo that they should now head to the rooftop so that he can show him something interesting. To which, Sung-woo asks him to wait, and Sung-woo addresses him as Hyung, which means brother is Korean. To which Hyun Woo-young asks Sung-woo that why is he calling him Hyung, because they are now friends. After that, Hyun Woo-young asks Sung-woo to stop worrying about the unconscious guys, because they will leave and that they will wake up any minute, so does he still want to be here when they do? Upon hearing that, Sung-woo got scared and said he will go with Hyun Woo-young. After that, we can see that Hyun Woo-young and Sung-woo both head towards the rooftop. As they were climbing the stairs, Sung-woo said to Hyun Woo-young that he was feeling very thankful for saving him earlier that day, but they should now stop and run away. Hearing that, Hyun Woo-young asks Sung-woo why, to which Sung-woo says Ki-hyuk already mentioned it, but their bully hierarchy is seriously very terrifying, and Hyun Woo-young just turned them all against him. To which Hyun Woo-young subsequently says that's absolutely fine with him, because even if they all teamed up, Hyun Woo-young will still end up winning. So that's why Hyun Woo-young says to Sung-woo that he doesn't have to worry about that matter or about him, because Hyun Woo-young is really very confident about himself and also about his psychical strength. So that's why Hyun Woo-young doesn't have any kind of fear about this fighting matter. By hearing Hyun Woo-young, Sung-woo was stunned to see his confidence. After that, we can see that Hyun Woo-young and Sung-woo reach to the rooftop. Hyun Woo-young after that pulls 2 chairs and asks Sung-woo to take a seat with him. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that Ki-hyuk won't go to the canteen and that he is sure Ki-hyuk will spread the words to others instead. To which Sung-woo responded by saying that they should take this opportunity to run away, and that would be the right thing to do at this point of time. After hearing Sung-woo, Hyun Woo-young told him that he got this, so Sung-woo didn't have to worry so much, so he should just sit back and relax because everything is under his control. Afterward, we see Sung-woo again says to Hyun Woo-young that he actually didn't know how dangerous those guys are yet. To which Hyun Woo-young responded by saying he is not asking Sung-woo to fight those guys with him, he is just asking him to watch from the sideline. Only then, Sung-woo will see that they are putting up a front because all of them are pretending to be strong, but in reality there are just a few bunch of bullies who are actually weak from inside and outside. As Hyun Woo-young and Sung-woo were talking, we find out Ki-hyuk has brought all the other guys on the rooftop to fight with Hyun Woo-young. After that, we can see Ki-hyuk points at Hyun Woo-young and says that he was the one who was creating havoc in the classroom. One of the bully then looks at Hyun Woo-young and said he was wondering who it was, and it turns out to be the student who came back to school. To which Hyun Woo-young said he was a little taken back by the fact that he knows Hyun Woo-young, but Hyun Woo-young didn't know him though. After that, the guy says he managed to take down Young-hoon with just 1 blow. That means he has got some impressive skill. However, there is a system and order in the school, and Hyun Woo-young just messed with that. By hearing that, Hyun Woo-young says how can he use such words like system and order for his little bully hierarchy. After that, the bully says they actually don't work individually because they're a gang, and that if Hyun Woo-young joined the gang, he will make him the representative of Class 1, but he will still be punished for disrupting the school hierarchy today. And we can see the bully asks Hyun Woo-young to come closer. After hearing all those things, Hyun Woo-young gets up from the chair and walks towards the guy, and as he was doing that, the bully thought Hyun Woo-young is definitely stronger than Young-hoon, but he was the strongest guy in 2nd grade Cha Ho-seok, and that his nickname is the Wailing Wall after all. Cha Ho-seok after that asks Hyun Woo-young to kneel down in front of him. On the other hand, we can see Sung-woo was watching all those things, and he was saying in his mind that Hyun Woo-young should put an end to all those things by kneeling down in front of those guys. But Hyun Woo-young didn't listen to that, and we can see he again puts his fist in the air and started chanting Abraka. But on the other hand, Ho-seok thinks in his mind he already has heard about the move, so he will just avoid getting hit and then he will counter, and all of a sudden we hear Dubra, and Ho-seok was on the ground too with just 1 devastating hammer fist. Afterward, Hyun Woo-young says to Sung-woo, another one of them just vanished. Everyone was stunned by seeing that, and after that a flabbergasted Ki-hyuk was standing in the side, thinking that he has already filled them in on his abracadabra move, but Ho-seok still gets down with that 1 blow. Hyun Woo-young after that says that now he wants the 3rd rank to come out. Hearing that the bullies asks what, Hyun Woo-young then explains himself by saying just now he took down the 4th ranked guy, so now he wants the thyroid ranked guy. By hearing that, Ki-hyuk says Cha Ho-seok was the strongest in the 2nd year. Hyun Woo-young reacts to that by saying that he was more disappointing than he imagined. After that, Hyun Woo-young asks the bullies that what's their plan now, and that if they already gave up or do any of those guys wants to challenge him, he was fine either way. After that, they all said they accept defeat, and upon hearing that, Hyun Woo-young responded by saying if they accept the defeat, then why are they still standing? They should be lying on the ground, and we can see that all the bullies then immediately do that. Hyun Woo-young looks at Ki-hyuk and asks him where was his and Sung-woo's burgers and cola, and he then immediately went to the canteen to bring those foods. All of a sudden, we see someone say Hyun Woo-young sounds really dumb. Hyun Woo-young looks at the guy, and he sees it was a guy who looked very confident, and all the other bullies started to stand up by seeing him. Hyun Woo-young asks them, did he tell them to stand up? To which one of the bullies says, if Hyun Woo-young has any idea who that guy was. After that, we get to find out that the guy was Cheon Daejin's son Bi-nim, and that he was the strongest guy at their school, and they further add that Hyun Woo-young is in for it now because he was a genius fighter that comes around once in a decade. Hyun Woo-young then adds, so the myth about the guy who takes a nap on the rooftop being the strongest was really true. Hyun Woo-young after that further goes on to ask him if he was tired of this cliche. After that, Daejin says he first tried to brush it off because at first he thought all the guys were just fooling around, but now he feels it has gotten out of hand. And now Daejin says that he's going to put an end to these things right now. After hearing that, we can see that Hyun Woo-young again puts his fist up in the air, and he says Abraka, and while Hyun Woo-young was doing this, suddenly Daejin charges towards him and said he is crazy if he thinks that this trick is going to work on him, and throws a left cross in Hyun Woo-young's chin. On the other hand, we can see that all the other bullies are really mesmerized by Daejin's straight right punch, saying Daejin's straight punch is the best and it is the fastest. After that, Dae-jin again tries to do the same, but this time Hyun Woo-young says Dubra, throws a thunderous hammed fist, which knocks unconscious Dae-jin and sends him to the ground. Everyone around there was really shocked and there was pin-drop silence there. Afterward, we see that Hyun Woo-young asks if he was the boss, to which all the other bullies says yes sir. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that he actually has no clue what sets him and Young-hoon apart. Then he further adds that now he is the new boss and the strongest in the school. On the other hand, Sung-woo thinks that Hyun Woo-young just conquered the whole school in just 30 minutes, and he was really impressed by that, and it felt like magic to him. The scene after that shifts to Ki-hyuk, where we can see he was talking to the juniors of the gang, and they were also shocked by hearing that, and they ask if Ki-hyuk was kidding with them, and if he's lying to them they are going to teach all the sophomores a lesson. To which Ki-hyuk tells them that, how could he lie about something like that? After that, the scene again shifts to the rooftop, where Hyun Woo-young, Sung-woo, and all the other bullies, including the unconscious body of Dae-jin, was present. Hyun Woo-young, after seeing all the guys, says that everyone was there. By hearing that, the junior bullies says, if Hyun Woo-young was the guy who did all this, to which Ki-hyuk says he was the culprit. But suddenly the guy noticed someone was lying on the ground, then asked if it was Dae-jin over there. After that, Hyun Woo-young subsequently says that he indeed was Dae-jin, and that he put him there because he was bored. Hyun Woo-young further adds, he heard that Dae-jin was the strongest guy in the school. On the other hand, Ki-hyuk thinks that he was gone for like 5 minutes. In that time, Hyun Woo-young beat down Dae-jin, the strongest guy in the school. Hyun Woo-young after that says that now he is pretty sure that he is their new boss, and that if anyone has any problem with that. By hearing that, those bullies were asking each other what should they do now, to which one of them answered that Hyun Woo-young is alone, so they should send him to the hospital. Or else, they will have to hand over the school to Hyun Woo-young. By hearing that, all the other guys said that that's absolutely right, and they now should protect their pride, and they can outnumber Hyun Woo-young, so they should just capitalize on that opportunity. After that, we can see that all the guys simultaneously charge towards Hyun Woo-young. Hyun Woo-young then thanked them for coming at him all at once. Thus, it's making this even easier for him to crush them all at once. After that, Hyun Woo-young looks at Sung-woo and tells him to take a step back for a moment. He after that further goes on to add, he will make sure that these guys never mess around again, not after he leaves tomorrow. By hearing this, Sung-woo was shocked that Hyun Woo-young is going to leave. After that, we get to see that all the guys attack Hyun Woo-young at the same time, but Hyun Woo-young was way too strong for those guys, and we get to learn that he taught them all a great lesson that they will never forget. Within a fraction of few seconds, everyone was on the ground. By seeing this, Ki-hyuk was scared for his life. After that, we can see that Hyun Woo-young charges towards Ki-hyuk, and after that he asks that where are the burgers and cola. By hearing that, Ki-hyuk replies he will now go and buy it for them and that he was sorry for the inconvenience. Ki-hyuk then runs towards the canteen, and as he was going there, suddenly Hyun Woo-young calls him from behind and tells him Hyun Woo-young is 21 and Ki-hyuk is 18 years old, and the only friend Hyun Woo-young allowed to speak to him casually is Sung-woo, so why is he speaking to him like this? On hearing this, Ki-hyuk, without washing any time, quickly apologized to him. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that's all right, and Ki-hyuk then runs to get the burgers and cola from the canteen. And as he was on the way to the canteen, we got to see on the rooftop, Dae-jin was regaining consciousness. As he wakes up, he asks if he was dreaming, to which Hyun Woo-young responds to him by saying he is sorry to let him know that he is not dreaming at all. Afterward, Dae-jin looks around and sees his friends are all unconscious after the beating they have received from Hyun Woo-young. By seeing this visual, he was really scared. Hyun Woo-young then tells him that he doesn't have to be scared because he's not going to take his life, so that's why Dae-jin should just relax. After that, Hyun Woo-young lets him know that the boss of the school has been changed. He is telling this to him because he woke up earlier than everyone else. Dae-jin then asks Hyun Woo-young that why on earth he was doing this. In reply, Hyun Woo-young says that he didn't like Dae-jin's tone and that he doesn't want anyone to talk to him like that from now on. Dae-jin was really frustrated hearing this, and we see that he caused it at Hyun Woo-young. Following this, Hyun Woo-young says Dae-jin was the former boss of the school, so that's why he is putting on a tough act, and he further adds that he is now going to put him to sleep again and they will talk after he wakes up. Following that, Hyun Woo-young again hits him with a hammer fist, which puts Dae-jin to sleep again. After that, we get to see Dae-jin wake up after a long time, and upon waking up, Dae-jin says that all of his friends have woken up and are in a push-up position. Seeing this, Dae-jin asks why is Hyun Woo-young doing this, to which Hyun Woo-young says that Dae-jin has to choose his words properly, because whatever he does, that doesn't matter to Hyun Woo-young but it does to his mates, and that only he should help them out of this situation. To which Dae-jin says that he is sorry for his behavior, and that it would never happen again in the future. Hearing this, Hyun Woo-young says that's more like it. Now that he apologized, they should end it here. After that, Dae-jin thanked Hyun Woo-young and further goes on to say, from now on they will do whatever Hyun Woo-young says. We then get to see Hyun Woo-young says he won't lead them, and that from now on all forms of bullying and abuse is prohibited in their school. So the gang must also be permanently disbanded. So Hyun Woo-young further goes on to add that if anyone has any complaints about it, then they should tell him now. To which we see that Dae-jin says that he apologizes in advance, but the disbandment of the gang is impossible because it goes against the alliance. He further elaborates that the alliance is a union of the 5 schools, which includes Jaesun High School, Buksung Industrial Engineering High School, Cheon-woo Machinery and Technical High School, Jangon High School, and their school Han Young High School. We get to learn that they're the main gang that initiated the alliance. According to him, most of the students are different from them, and there is one really dangerous person at the Jangon High School. He goes by the name of Cannon, and by hearing that, Hyun Woo-young gets very curious. Afterward, Dae-jin says that the students from the other schools are roughly at the same level as him, so he can handle them later. But Cannon is really in a different league of his own. After that, Dae-jin elaborates that he actually didn't care about the Jangon High School before, but after Cannon appeared, it has become a whole different game. After that, Dae-jin says, if he had to put it frankly, then he will say that the other 4 schools, including theirs, are like Jangon High School's underlings. So Dae-jin thinks that it will be difficult if they suddenly leave the alliance without Jangon High School's approval, and that it will be like declaring independence from colonialism, and it will make them angry. After hearing all this, Hyun Woo-young thinks that it is more difficult than he actually thought. Hyun Woo-young then asks Dae-jin to stand up and tell him more about Cannon, to which Dae-jin responded by saying yes. Dae-jin after that started telling Hyun Woo-young about Cannon. There, Dae-jin started by saying that Cannon is the sophomore at the Jangon High School. His real name is Kang Suk-chai, but everyone calls him Cannon. His fist is really like a cannon. Everyone who fights him goes down with just one punch. Hearing that, Hyun Woo-young asks Dae-jin if got punched by Cannon, to which he replies by saying no. Last year, when Dae-jin was a sophomore, Dae-jin saw Cannon fight his senior. It was the fight to determine ranks. And after only one blow of Cannon, the senior was knocked out. By hearing this, Hyun Woo-young was also very impressed, and we get to learn that Hyun Woo-young thought that was incredible. So Hyun Woo-young wants to actually find out Cannon's level. Hyun Woo-young then says that there won't be any trouble with Jangon High School if he can take care of Cannon. To which Dae-jin reacts by saying, Cannon is not the only obstacle in Jangon High School, but it's the 3rd-year student, Yeom Gae-tae. A confused Hyun Woo-young asks Dae-jin that, isn't Cannon the one who makes Jangon High School the strongest? To which Dae-jin responded by saying that Cannon is the strongest, but he is not the boss. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that he wants to know everything about this matter, so he asks Dae-jin to explain everything to him. Dae-jin after that elaborates everything to Hyun Woo-young, and Dae-jin starts by saying that Yeom Gae-tae is not an ordinary person, and that his family runs several businesses and they live good lives. Cannon's father works as Yeom Gae-tae's chauffeur. Cannon's family borrowed a lot of money from Yeom Gae-tae's family. That's why Cannon can't challenge. So Cannon is just a really strong slave of his. By hearing that, Hyun Woo-young says he actually didn't like this type of stories, and if he had to be honest, then he will say that he hates these types of stories. After that, Dae-jin says anyway that's the reason, and that's why they can just disband the gang and leave the alliance. After that, Dae-jin further adds that he wants to call him a friend, and that friend is the real problem, and that he wants to make him the top ranked among the sophomore so that no one can touch him. And he further goes on to say that since they now have Hyun Woo-young, he thinks that he can do something. Suddenly we see Hyun Woo-young got angry and said a punk like Dae-jin wants to make a friend into a bully, and he was about to hit him. Dae-jin quickly apologized to him. After that, Hyun Woo-young said let's see, and he started thinking for some time. After a few moments, Hyun Woo-young says he has figured out something, and he thinks that he can make it work out today, and he asks Dae-jin to call everyone. Hearing that, Dae-jin was shocked, and he said he didn't understand. Hyun Woo-young then elaborated it further and asked Dae-jin to call all the kids in the alliance, to which Dae-jin responded by asking why, following that he said if Hyun Woo-young is going to explain the new system of the school to them. Hyun Woo-young responded to that by saying if Dae-jin was a stupid or something. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that the main problem is the alliance. If there isn't any alliance, then there won't be any problem anymore. A stunned Daejin then says to Hyun Woo-young that excluding them, there are 4 more schools even if they gathered everyone from their school, including those who aren't good at fighting, the maximum amount they can gather is 50. On the other hand, the alliance will have more than 100 people, and if 3 of them are about as strong as Daejin, and even if they don't count cannon, they still can't win, according to Daejin. To which Hyun Woo-young says if they are as strong as Daejin, then what's the problem, and called Daejin a loser, to which he said he is, but the difference in number is colossal and most of their members are also in bad condition because of Hyun Woo-young. To which Hyun Woo-young says, moreover, who told Daejin to fight? After that statement, Hyun Woo-young says he is enough for them. Daejin was flabbergasted by that, and he asks if Hyun Woo-young is saying that he is going to fight them all by himself. And the answer Hyun Woo-young gave was yes. After hearing all those things, Sung-woo said, that seems way too dangerous, and Sung-woo thinks Hyun Woo-young shouldn't do that. To which Hyun Woo-young responds by asking Sung-woo to calm down, and that no one knows what is going to happen. So first they have to talk to them first. After that, Hyun Woo-young asks Daejin to send a message to the alliance, and he further adds that he hopes that he can clear things up within the day. After that, he tells Daejin to ask them to come at 7 p.m. And Hyun Woo-young also wants to know from Daejin that where can he find a quiet place that's good for fighting around there. To which Daejin says that there is a vacant lot behind their school, and that it is quiet in the evenings. Hyun Woo-young then tells them that they won't have any affiliations with the alliance starting for today, and everyone who's dissatisfied with that decision can come to the empty lot behind their school at 7 p.m. And Hyun Woo-young asks Daejin to deliver the message like that. And after that, we can see that Hyun Woo-young was about to leave the place. At that time, Daejin calls him from behind. Daejin after that says that Hyun Woo-young should think this over one more time. In reply, Hyun Woo-young asks Daejin if he wants to be punched again, and Daejin says it was just because he's really worried about Hyun Woo-young, to which Hyun Woo-young says that the call has already started, and then asked Sung-woo to join him for the class, and as he was leaving, Hyun Woo-young suddenly turned around and said that if he go to the empty lot behind the school and there is no one there, then he will take all their lives, and he left the rooftop. Afterward, we can see that all the guys there asked Daejin what they should do now, to which Daejin responded by saying that they all should do as he said, and that there is no other option there. Because if they don't listen to Hyun Woo-young, then he will beat the crap out of them, and they will be in the hospital. But on the other hand, he still thinks that there is a chance, if they could explain to the alliance that they actually don't have any choice because of a crazy guy in their school. Daejin after that says when he will lose to them, he will understand the right attitude and that there is a league that he can't take on. After that, the scene changes. There we can see that the other schools have got the message that Hyun Woo-young has sent for them via Daejin, and after listening to that message, the leader of the alliance Yeom Gae-tae and his mate thinks that Daejin has gone mad, and that they have to go there and scold him a bit. After that, Yeom Gae-tae's mate asks him that if he is going to send Cannon to teach them a lesson, to which Yeom Gae-tae says there is no need for that and that their school doesn't even need to step in. Afterward, Yeom Gae-tae asks his mate to tell Do-hun, Seon-ho and Yeon-gil to go to Daejin's school and teach them a lesson, to which his mate responded by saying that he understood, and he will tell them to do that. Yeom Gae-tae them also adds that the Hanyang High School will have to pay twice. The scene then shifts to the empty lot where we can see the people of the alliance are arriving, and we can also see that they have all kinds of deadly weapons with them. After that, at the empty lot we get to find out that all the 3 schools who are part of the alliance are there with their boss, and Yoon Seon-ho, Jang Yeon-gil and Park Do-hun, who were the leaders of their respected schools, are there. The leaders there were talking about the Cannon, and they were planning that as soon as Cannon graduated from the Jangon school, they will crush the Jangon High School. After that, one of the guys said that they first have to teach a lesson to the Hanyang High School. After that, they will look after Jangon High School. Then one of them asked, where are those losers for the Hanyang High School? As they were saying that, we suddenly heard Hyun Woo-young's voice, and he said that they don't have to wait any longer, because he is here. After that, Hyun Woo-young says that he is sorry for making them wait, but he was lost on the way there, and that it was his first time coming there. After Hyun Woo-young's statement, all the people of the alliance were shocked. One of the leaders then asked Hyun Woo-young who he is, and we can see Hyun Woo-young started laughing at them. After that, in reply to that guy's question, Hyun Woo-young says that he was asking him who he is. Hyun Woo-young then shows his uniform and asks them if they understand now. To which one of the leaders says Hyun Woo-young is so annoying and that she should just cut the crap and bring out that guy, Daejin or whatever, because they don't have much time and that they are busy people. Hyun Woo-young after that says that Daejin is useless, so he sent him home and that he was enough to do this thing alone. After that, the leader calls Daejin on his cell phone But we learn that Daejin's phone was off, to which Hyun Woo-young again says, that's because he sent him home, because Hyun Woo-young didn't think that Daejin will be of any use. After that, we see Hyun Woo-young ask them which one of them is canon, if only he should be allowed to know that much. Hearing that, one of the leaders says what the heck is going on there. After that, Hyun Woo-young again asks who is canon and that if he was there. One of the guys there then asks Hyun Woo-young to shut up, and further adds that they're already tense there, and on top of that he was making too much noise. Hyun Woo-young then take a few steps towards a guy. Seeing this, that guy says, at first glance it seemed to him that he was an older guy, but now he can say that he himself will be responsible for what that guy is going to do to him, and that he can't blame him for that. To which Hyun Woo-young says that he was very kind to let him know and smiled at him. Showing that the guy really got angry, and he throws a straight right punch to Hyun Woo-young, but Hyun Woo-young dodges that, and in return Hyun Woo-young slaps him unconscious. Seeing this, everyone was stunned there. As the guy was lying on the ground, we see that Hyun Woo-young says to his unconscious body that what will he apologize for, and that he thinks that there is nothing that he can apologize for. One of the guys from Alliance then said that guy Hyun Woo-young is really strong. Hearing that, one of the boss got really angry, and he charges towards Hyun Woo-young and says that he is not just an ordinary dumb guy. However, the guy he just knocked out was his most precious junior, so now Hyun Woo-young should be ready for the consequences, and that he is break at least 3 of Hyun Woo-young's bone. To which Hyun Woo-young says that he has already asked that multiple times today, and now he is going to do that again, and he asks him if he was canon. The guy replies to that with a flying kick, but Hyun Woo-young dodges that pretty easily and said that he understood that he was not, and as Hyun Woo-young said that he throws a vicious left hook and knocked that guy on the ground, and then said to the unconscious guy that then he should just shut up. On the other hand, all the other guys and all the leaders who were present there was absolutely stunned by that, and one of the leaders there said Hyun Woo-young was in something else because he just took out that guy with just one single blow, and he just wanted to know that what was this guy Hyun Woo-young's deal, and that was there ever a guy like him in the Hanyang High School. After that, we see that Hyun Woo-young then again asks them where is canon. Hyun Woo-young then further adds that they say that canon is the best among all of them, so that's why Hyun Woo-young wants to meet this guy canon, so which one of them is canon? Then one of the leaders says that at the most he is the one who deals with Hanyang High School, so there is no need for canon to come there in person. Hearing that, Hyun Woo-young says, is that so? Then who are they? To which they answered that they are from the 3 schools, excluding Jangon High. Hyun Woo-young reacts to that by saying that is such a waste. Hyun Woo-young after that says that he can let them go, but only on one condition: they will have to come back tomorrow with canon. After saying that, Hyun Woo-young again says he is now letting them go, but he wants to see canon by tomorrow, and that they will have to make sure of that. So now he will be the first one to leave now, saying that he started to leave the place. Hearing that, one of the guys from the Alliance was furious, and he screamed at Hyun Woo-young by saying where he thinks he is going, to which Hyun Woo-young funnily replied, home. After hearing that, the guy was really pissed off and asked everyone to attack him all at once. All the guys then charged towards Hyun Woo-young with their weapons. As they were doing that, Hyun Woo-young looked at them and thought that there were 70 or maybe 80 people there, and that was a bit too much for Hyun Woo-young, and suddenly he sees one of the guys came too close to him, so we see that he knocked him out with his devastating punch, and like that Hyun Woo-young started beating all those guys one after another, and all this time Hyun Woo-young was thinking that he can't just let them go like that. All the bosses were flabbergasted to see that, and they thought this was just crazy, and that Hyun Woo-young was a beast. After that, Hyun Woo-young says to the guys that those who want to live do not touch him, and others keep on attacking him. After that, one of the guys there said it looks like Hyun Woo-young is stronger than canon, but his mate there told him that there is no way that he was stronger than canon, and that is in a league of his own, to which the leader says that's right. The leader then further goes on to say that they should also join them in the fight, to which his mate says who will go first. In reply, the leader says that they can't afford to go there one by one because Hyun Woo-young is too strong, so they will have to attack him together, so they decide that one will go from the left and the other one will go from the right, and after that, they both started to run towards Hyun Woo-young. After noticing the 2 leaders, Hyun Woo-young understood that they were trying to attack him at the same time but from different directions. But one thing that they didn't know is that Hyun Woo-young is different from the average guy. So after that, we see that, as they tried to attack him, Hyun Woo-young dodged the attack, and in counter he launches a flying scissors kick which sends them both flying back. After that attack, Hyun Woo-young says that he actually has many different ways to defeat kids like them. Hyun Woo-young then tells everyone who were standing that as they can see all 3 leaders are knocked out, so if they still want to keep fighting for their knocked out leaders, then they can keep on trying to attack him, but if they don't want to end up like their leader, then they can go home and take rest. But he will let them go, but he has one condition. That is, they can't bully the powerless people, steal their money, or pass their work forcefully on them. They have to follow these rules, so now they have to decide quickly. After that we see they all agreed to follow the rules, hearing that Hyun Woo-young says that they have made a good decision, so now they all should put their head on the ground and grovel for 5 minutes, and then they can go. Hyun Woo-young after that further goes on to add that when their 3 leaders wake up, they should ask them to bring cannon to Hyun Woo-young tomorrow. After that Hyun Woo-young started to leave, and there he thinks that this should be enough for today, but suddenly he sees that someone is calling him in his phone and says that it looks to him that there is still one left. After that we found out it was San Dojok, the boss from his part-time job, was calling. The scene then shifts to the restaurant where Hyun Woo-young works as a part-time worker, and there we get to see that Hyun Woo-young's boss is shouting at him in front of all the customers, and he was also using abusive words too. After that we see the owner of the restaurant was saying that Hyun Woo-young was supposed to be in the restaurant, but he was absent, and that should he call Young-hoon to teach him a lesson. Afterward, we saw the owner of the restaurant also tried to call Sung-woo, but his phone was out of reach. So that's why he was getting even more mad at everyone. After that he said that Hyun Woo-young should go and quickly take his orders, and that he will have to do everything fast today and he won't listen to any excuse today from anyone. But Hyun Woo-young was still standing there, which pissed him off. And we see that the owner of the restaurant started abusing him again. And he was using abusive words, and after that he tells Hyun Woo-young not to talk with him like that, to which Hyun Woo-young says that he will speak to him however he wants. After that Hyun Woo-young tells him that ain't he curious that why Sung-woo is not picking up his call, and that does he want to know the reason. After that Hyun Woo-young told him that he asked Sung-woo to block the owner of the restaurant, and that is the reason he is unavailable. The furious restaurant owner then shouts at him, and he, after listening to all those things, he asks Hyun Woo-young that what is he up to which Hyun Woo-young says if he wants to know what is he up to, then he will have to stop barking like a dog and have to follow him. The scene changes and we get to see the restaurant owner is lying on the ground and he is in excruciating pain. Hyun Woo-young then says that he didn't even touch his head, so he shouldn't overreact. After that, the man asks him why he is doing this to him, to which Hyun Woo-young sarcastically replies to him that he didn't know why he is doing this. Okay, so now he will tell him, saying that Hyun Woo-young started to stomp him in his gut. Hyun Woo-young then says that there must be a reason why people get beaten up, and if he doesn't know the reason, then he will get beaten up even more. After that we see Hyun Woo-young again starts to beat him up. The restaurant owner after that says that he knows and that he understands that why is Hyun Woo-young is beating him like this. Hyun Woo-young then wants him tell the reason. The guy said he was beating him because he yelled at him for being late without even knowing the reason, to which Hyun Woo-young responded by asking that he thinks it's only because of that. Then he will let him know now, and as Hyun Woo-young says this, he again started to beat him. The guy after that started to scream on top of his lungs that he knows the reason. Hyun Woo-young says to him that then he should tell him the reason. We after that get to see the guy saying that it's because of the part-timers, and that rather than helping the high school part-timers, who in this case are the victims of school violence, he chose to help the bullies by giving them their fee. Hearing that, Hyun Woo-young asked him why did he do that, to which they said that it was cheaper, and they couldn't quit halfway. By listening to that, Hyun Woo-young said that guy was a piece of trash that's not even worth recycling, and he called himself an adult, and after that apologizes to Hyun Woo-young. Hyun Woo-young then told him that if he was hurt, then he should go and report this incident to the local police station. But if he reflects again on what he has done, then he knows what's going to happen to him this time, and also he will have to pay back everything Sung-woo has paid for so far, and that he will have to send it to him by tomorrow. Hyun Woo-young after that further goes on to say if he didn't do that, he will have to see Hyun Woo-young again very soon, to which the guy says he understood and that he will do that right away. After that the scene changes and we can see Hyun Woo-young is in the street walking towards his home, and we get to know that he was thinking that it was over finally, and that he was feeling really very exhausted after this long trying day. And suddenly we got to see that it started to rain there, but Hyun Woo-young was still walking and he was smoking wet. On his way to home, Hyun Woo-young decided to stop by a convenience store where his building mate works. After we can see Hyun Woo-young enter the store. There Hyun Woo-young asks for a pack of cigarettes, but the girl, who was his building mate, was looking at him in a strange way. Hyun Woo-young then asks her if she has already forgotten his face, to which she points at Hyun Woo-young, and she asks why is he wearing a school uniform. Hearing that, Hyun Woo-young was very annoyed, and we after that see that he takes his school coat off and says to that girl that she is going to have to stop nagging him about the uniform. The girl then says the trousers, to which Hyun Woo-young says forget about the trousers, and that there are lots of casual clothes with this color. After that he further goes on to say that if he needs to take off his trousers too, the girl there says there is no need for that, and we can see that the girl then gives him the pack of cigarettes. And she says that will be 2001. Hyun Woo-young then pay her the money, and Hyun Woo-young then further goes on to add that she should look at the way she talks, it is so unfriendly, to which the girl says if that's all that he can leave, and she calls her sir. But Hyun Woo-young says that he still has something to buy, and this time Hyun Woo-young calls her a part-timer. Afterward, we see Hyun Woo-young brought 2 juice bottles from the fridge, and the girl said that would be 1,001. Hyun Woo-young then paid the money and drank one of the juices there. After that, he left 1 juice at the counter and said that's for her and started to leave, but the girls there said that it's raining heavily, and that does he have an umbrella with him, to which Hyun Woo-young responded by saying if he got out in this rain, he will get wet anyways, doesn't matter whether he has an umbrella or not. And after that, he left the store, and the girl was thinking, why is he like that? After that, we can see Hyun Woo-young walking in the rain, and he was trying to light up his cigarette, but because of the heavy rain, he was unable to do that. The scene then shifts to a flashback where we see Hyun Woo-young, who is in jail, and a prisoner are talking to each other, and there the guy says to Hyun Woo-young that he will be released from the prison soon, to which Hyun Woo-young responded by saying yes, finally that time has come, and that he thought he was going to be at this prison forever. After that, the other guy further goes on to ask him what was he going to do once he is out, and that if it's him, then he can even be the ace of the national team. That guy then again adds that if he needs any help, he can connect him with some people, to which Hyun Woo-young said he is happy to hear that, but he is actually not interested. After that, the guy says not only those people, he can connect him with businessmen, or if he wants employees, he can also manage that too. Hyun Woo-young again says that right now he is not interested and that he will decide that later, and for now he just wants to go back to high school. That guy Hyun Woo-young was talking to was stunned by that statement, and he asks Hyun Woo-young that he was over 20 years old, so why did he want to join high school now? And if he joins the high school, he will have to stay there for another 3 years, and that if he wants to take a diploma, then there are lots of ways to get that. According to the guy, Hyun Woo-young was smart, so if he takes the qualification exam, then he will only need a year. In reply, Hyun Woo-young said to him that, firstly, he finished his first year, so he has only 2 years left. And secondly, being a high school graduate and graduating from high school are completely different things. There are a lot of things he wants to do while being ordinary in school. In reply, that guy says that being ordinary will be really hard for him, because he thinks that Hyun Woo-young is too special to lead a normal life, to which Hyun Woo-young responded by saying he should just wait and see. Back in the present time, Hyun Woo-young was thinking that he was so confident at that time. Then a depressed Hyun Woo-young thinks that there were so many things that he wanted to do and that he really thought that do better this time. After that, he went home, the scene changes, and we can see Hyun Woo-young is in the school office room, and the teacher is shouting at him by saying that the teacher knew that Hyun Woo-young did not know how to behave. But however, the teacher did expect him to cause a ruckus this early on, and Hyun Woo-young was listening to the teacher with his chin down. After that, the teacher asked him to be aware that the procedure for expulsion will be completed by tomorrow or the day after tomorrow at its latest. In reply, Hyun Woo-young says he understood. The teacher further goes on to ask that why did he come back to the school? If he going to act like this? And that does he want to ruin the school's environment? Or does Hyun Woo-young want to persuade the innocent kids into becoming a gangster like him? After that, we can see that teacher gets furious and asks him if he has a mouth, and if he does, then why is he silent? He will have to answer the teacher's questions. In reply to his question, Hyun Woo-young says that he was going to leave the office quietly. Since the teacher provoked him, he will now say a few words. Afterward, we get to see a pissed off Hyun Woo-young says, first of all, the environment of the school is not normal at all. Students threaten and assault other students, take their money and make them do their work. But suddenly the angry teacher then asks him to stop that, and that if he was blaming the school, the teacher after that further goes on to say that this school was a place where clumsy and immature teenagers gather to learn, and that the teacher is sure some of them make small mistakes here and there. To which Hyun Woo-young says small mistakes. He joins hands with a nearby restaurant owner to make one of the students work there, and the payment that the student received becomes the bully's money, and the teacher thinks that's small. After hearing that, the teacher was stunned and he asked Hyun Woo-young what he was talking about. In reply, Hyun Woo-young says what's with that expression, and that he really didn't know that. The teacher was actually very shocked to know all this. After that, Hyun Woo-young says to the teacher if he really didn't know, then it proves that the teacher is incompetent, and if the teacher knows this and he didn't do anything, then he is just evil. So Hyun Woo-young then asks the teacher what is he, incompetent or evil? The teacher after that shouts at Hyun Woo-young and asks him to be careful of what he says, and he is still young and oblivious, to which Hyun Woo-young replies by saying that the teacher asked him to talk if he had a mouth, but now the teacher himself is trying to stop him. Hyun Woo-young then says that he won't do what the teacher wants. Instead, he will say a couple more words since he asked him to talk in the first place. Afterward, he says that in the teacher's eyes, Hyun Woo-young may be a disgrace and bad influence on the other kids, but he can ask the students about how innocent he really is. Hyun Woo-young further goes on to add that after he came to this school, he made him cut ties with the school alliance between the 4 schools. Thanks to that, the lives of the actual innocent are better now, because they are no longer getting beaten for no reason, nor do they have fees to pay or get robbed, and that they don't have to make other people's game character level up anymore either. The humiliation of kneeling down and doing everything the bullies say have disappeared. And now, instead of thinking about transferring schools or trying to take their own lives, they can finally have an environment for studying. After hearing all this, the teacher says that even so, solving violence with violence is never accepted, especially if he's a grown-up and they're students. In reply, Hyun Woo-young says he knows that he is not a good guy and that he is not doing the right thing, but he did have lots of experience on that. But the teacher did have any experience on that matter, and we can see Hyun Woo-young was really furious when he was saying that. Hyun Woo-young further goes on to say that the teacher is an adult and that he is a leader and a guardian, so that's why the teacher should do better than him. After that, Hyun Woo-young says the teacher thinks that handling a gangster who is using violence against violence can never be accepted, but there are also good students who are weak, and they are in need of help. Hyun Woo-young then says that Hyun Woo-young will be expelled from school tomorrow or day after at its latest, and that means he is still a student at the school today. The teacher after that looks at Hyun Woo-young and asks him that what is it that he wants now. After that, the scene changes and we get to see at the Jangon High School Yeom Gae-tae and his mate is talking about Hyun Woo-young, and their Yeom Gae-tae says that Hyun Woo-young is really a very funny guy, but his mate on the other hand looked pretty worried, and he asked to Yeom Gae-tae that what are they going to do now. In reply, Yeom Gae-tae sarcastically says what else. Yeom Gae-tae after that asks his mate to bring Cannon to him as quickly as possible, to which the guy says yes. Afterward, we get to see that the guy went to Cannon, and then he brings him to Yeom Gae-tae, and upon entering the room we can see Kang Seok-chan, who is the sophomore of Jangon High School, and the strongest high school student in Seoul, bows to Yeom Gae-tae, and after that he says that he has heard that Yeom Gae-tae's Sunbae Nim called him, to which Yeom Gae-tae replies yes he did. Yeom Gae-tae then asks him to make some time because this evening they will be visiting the Hanyang High School, to which Cannon asks are they going there to teach them a lesson. In reply to that, Yeom Gae-tae says yes. After that, Cannon asks Yeom Gae-tae if he knows how many people there are, to which Yeom Gae-tae sarcastically replies to him that 100 minus 99 people are there, and he also tells Cannon that he finds this matter very funny. Afterward, Cannon asks Yeom Gae-tae that if there is only one person there, then if he really needs to step in. In reply to that, Yeom Gae-tae says that he is actually surprised because he really didn't think that Cannon will ask him such a question. After that, Cannon reveals that actually he has something really important to do, so will that be alright if he can postpone it for today, to which a very angry Yeom Gae-tae says that it seems to him that Cannon has grown some guts now that he was trying to talk back to Yeom Gae-tae. Cannon says that actually today is his parents' anniversary, so he has made a reservation in advance to have dinner with them, since it has been a long time. Then a furious Yeom Gae-tae says that does he want to see his father lose this job, just because he celebrated his marriage anniversary, and that would be very ridiculous. Hearing that, Cannon was really angry, but as we know, there is nothing he can do about this matter, so to decide to keep quiet at that point of time. Afterward, Yeom Gae-tae says that can finish it quickly and do his stuff, or Cannon can avoid that and do whatever he wants, but according to Yeom Gae-tae it would be a proof that he is afraid. Cannon their response to that by saying he is not scared of anything and that Cannon will end it within 10 minutes, and we get to see that as he was saying this, Cannon was furious, and Yeom Gae-tae replies him saying he likes that confidence.